If you've ignored the same person 3 times this month, that choice is either protecting your health or quietly increasing your long-term risk of heart disease by up to 29%. There's little middle ground. Each time, your shoulders dropped and your breathing slowed. Then you saw the headline, "Loneliness is rising. Isolation increases heart disease risk, and 1 in 4 adults feel completely alone." Here's the blunt truth. Cutting people off isn't antisocial, it's often neurological protection. But if you misread it, that same protection can narrow your life and affect your health. In the next few minutes, you'll learn how to tell whether your distance is building a sanctuary or practicing exile. Something feels off. The peace you feel after declining that call is real. Your body stops bracing. The noise fades, but relief can mean 2 different things. It can mean you honored your limits, or it can mean your nervous system is training you to survive alone. If you confuse the two, the cost builds, socially and physically. We'll focus on one decision: who gets access to you. By the end, you'll have a clear way to measure whether your distance is wisdom or fear. You've ignored the same person 3 times this month. Not a stranger. A longtime friend. Maybe a sibling. The name lights up your screen during an ordinary afternoon, and before you think, your stomach tightens. You know the pattern: subtle criticism, emotional dumping, a conversation that leaves you apologizing for things you didn't do, so you don't answer. 10 minutes later, your body shifts. Your jaw unclenches. Your breathing slows. There's quiet. That quiet feels earned. Then you scroll past an article about loneliness, warnings about isolation, statistics about heart disease and early mortality. Now the calm mixes with doubt. Did I protect my peace or push someone away? That's the conflict. Culture says connection is always healthy. Your body says distance equals stability. Both can't be true in every case. Here's a clearer frame. This isn't about being antisocial. It's about energy. Your nervous system runs on a finite battery. Others act like background apps, always running, always draining, even when nothing dramatic happens. More access, less energy, more distance, more stability. The mistake is assuming relief equals growth. Relief only means pressure dropped. It doesn't tell you if the strategy works long term. Use this filter. After declining, do you gain clarity and momentum, or a quiet tension that you're postponing something? Clarity builds strength. Tension builds avoidance. One expands your life, one shrinks it. This matters beyond one phone call. If your default becomes, no one gets close, you don't just lose conflict, you lose repair, you lose the friction that builds depth. The real question isn't, am I isolated? It's this: is my drawbridge lifting because of discernment, or because my nervous system learned that distance is safer than growth? Declining a call can be self-respect, or it can be practice for a smaller life. Before labeling your distance as dysfunction, ground it in something physical. Think about the last time you answered. You're in your car after work. The call is on speaker. Within minutes, the other person is venting, interrupting, or slipping in comments that feel slightly sharp. Nothing dramatic enough to justify cutting them off, just enough to make you brace. Your shoulders lift. Your replies shorten. You plan your exit. That reaction isn't random. Your nervous system scans for safety. When it senses unpredictability, tone shifts, or subtle criticism, it tightens your body before you decide anything. Shutdown doesn't mean broken. It means protected. Here's a measurable pattern. If you decline or delay social invitations more than 3 times a week, because you don't have the energy, your nervous system is likely running cost-benefit checks before you are aware of them. It's asking, is this safe enough? Consider 2 options. Option A, a friend who vents sometimes but listens, adjusts when you say, I can't talk long, and follows through on plans. Option B, a friend who alternates warmth with subtle criticism, cancels unpredictably, and reacts defensively to limits. In option A, your system gathers safety cues, conversation flows, your body settles. In option B, unpredictability keeps you on guard. You monitor tone, Scan for subtext, prepare exits. Even a 20-minute interaction feels like a low-grade stressor. Which one leaves you tired for hours? A 2023 study in Nature Neuroscience found that individuals with heightened threat detection showed increased activation in brain regions tied to pattern recognition and social evaluation. In plain language, some brains get very good at spotting social risk early. Fast detection protects you, but it can also overfire. If you grew up reading the room, tracking mood shifts at dinner, and adjusting before tension escalated, you strengthened this circuitry early. That isn't fragility, it's calibration. Think of a financial risk algorithm trained during a volatile market. It becomes conservative. It flags small fluctuations as crashes. That prevents major losses and can limit growth. Your nervous system works the same way. That explains the peace after you decline. Heart rate lowers. Relief becomes the reward. Trigger, subtle unpredictability. Action, withdraw, reward, calm. Repeat the loop, and calm links to absence. There's nothing weak about a system that learned to anticipate harm, but short-term stress reduction isn't the same as long-term well-being. CDC data shows prolonged social isolation is associated with a 29% increased risk of heart disease and a 32% increased risk of stroke. That doesn't mean forcing connection. It means total shutdown has physiological cost. If alone time brings clarity and steadiness, that's sanctuary. If it brings rumination and a growing list of people you can't deal with, exile is starting. Try a 24-hour micro-experiment. Choose one mildly risky interaction before it starts. Rate your tension from 1 to 10. Set a boundary up front. I have 15 minutes. Afterward, rate tension again, and note recovery time. Data replaces assumption. If tension spikes to 8 and lingers for hours, your detector may be accurate. If it peaks at 5 and drops within 10 minutes, you may be reacting to steam, not fire. Your nervous system may be wise. The risk is when wisdom turns into policy. Are you protecting yourself from real heat, or living in a house where the alarm never gets tested? If calm only comes from cutting people off, is that strength or silence? Which path expands your life over the next 5 years? If you shut down or go silent in more than 3 difficult conversations a month, this pattern likely began long before adulthood. Underneath it is emotional cutoff. Family systems psychologist Murray Bowen described emotional cutoff as distancing strategies people use to manage unresolved attachment stress. It often starts early. Some children learn to read the room before they read books. If unpredictability, criticism, or emotional volatility shaped your early environment, hypervigilance becomes adaptive. You scan tone shifts, micro-expressions, pauses in speech. That skill kept you safe. Now comes the adult decision. Do you use that skill to choose better people, or to avoid intimacy entirely? Consider a concrete example. A 9-year-old who notices that dinner is quiet when a parent had a hard day at work learns to speak less, move carefully, and avoid asking for help. That reduces friction. Trigger, tension in the room. Action, self-silencing. Reward, no explosion. The nervous system encodes this as success. Fast forward 20 years. A partner says, "Can we talk about last night?" The tone is neutral. Your body recognizes pre-conflict atmosphere. Trigger, request for discussion. Action, emotional exit, shorter replies, delayed texts. Reward, anxiety drops in the short term. The pattern repeats. What began as protection can harden into policy. Instead of evaluating each relationship on current data, your system applies old templates. The smoke detector doesn't ask if this kitchen is different. It sounds the alarm. A 2023 Nature Neuroscience Street UD showed that people with heightened threat detection often demonstrate stronger pattern recognition in ambiguous environments. The University of Iowa found increased frontal lobe activation during social evaluation tasks in individuals with higher vigilance scores. Your system isn't broken. It is precise, but precision without recalibration becomes distortion. Not everyone who cuts people off is healed and boundaried. Some are replaying early exits. If every difficult conversation triggers total shutdown, that's not selectivity. It's a global rule. Small circle, high trust, that's sanctuary. Shrinking circle, rising suspicion, that's exile. Over the next week, track the direction. Are your boundaries increasing respect and depth, or only reducing discomfort? 5 years from now, your health, resilience, and support system will reflect the pattern you practice today. Protect your peace. Make sure you're not protecting your fear.